And for a closer look at Trump's legal battle in Georgia, Paul Pelletier joins us. He's a law professor at the George Washington University School of Law and a former federal prosecutor. Want to get your take on all this? Why is it significant that this special grand jury report in Georgia was released? This is not something that happens often. So what was the motivation, you think, behind this move?
Well, good afternoon, Elaine. The motivation, I think, is pretty clear. People wanted it to be released. If you remember earlier this year, they had released a redacted portion of it. We couldn't tell who the other potential charged defendants would be. So there was a lot of clamor by newspapers and other press to get this released. The judge ordered it released. It's fairly unprecedented because grand jury work, as we all know, is generally secret. But so it's unique, but the press wanted it done and the public wanted it, so the judge ordered it. And so we have a window into what the investigatory grand jury was thinking.
Yeah, very secret, as you mentioned. Talk about the impact the release of this report will have on the case, or will it at all?
Well, it's going to have an impact in terms of how the public is going to view it. And it seems to me that what it shows is that what your previous guest said, that Fani Willis wasn't being reckless at all. The investigative grand jury recommended prosecution of a number of additional people, approximately 20, in addition to what she actually sought indictment, those that she actually sought indictment for. And those included names like Cleta Mitchell. I mean, the jury was almost unanimous in recommending that she be charged. She's one of Trump's was one of Trump's lawyers during this period of time. They recommended Lynn Wood, 3 senators, a current sitting senator, and 2 senators who ended up losing. I mean, this was a grand sweep of criminality that Fani Willis decided not to follow their recommendations as related to 20 of them. So I think it shows that she was not acting recklessly. She was being very judicious. And it also shows that the grand jury wasn't acting recklessly. We could see their votes. And as it relates to the 2 Georgia senators, Loeffler and Perdue, they were mixed. So in terms of their recommendations, in terms of the other people, some of them, like Cleta Mitchell, they were just strident on that these people should be prosecuted. We don't know why the prosecutor made the choice not to prosecute some of these people, but it shows a very judicious work by Fani Willis.
Judicious, but how political was this decision? And could this sway potential jurors? You know, when they choose jurors for trials, they want to make sure you don't know a lot of the information, but it's pretty impossible at this point.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, look, she's an elected official. So it is always going to be said that her decisions will be political. But what we see by the fact that she didn't charge a number of Republicans that the grand jury had recommended be charged, I think it sort of diffuses that political element to it. But you can never separate the politics from it, and that's just a fact of life, because these DAs all across America are elected officials, and usually they belong to a particular party. So you can't strike that, but at the end of the day, I think her decision not to indict a whole slew of people who were Republican elected officials or Republican operatives shows that this was not a political decision.
All right, Paul Pelletier, we appreciate your insight. Thank you so much for joining us from Washington, D.C. Appreciate it.